Berkshire Hathaway investing $10 billion in Occidental to finance that acquisition offer for Anadarko. You guys were just talking about this, Jim. Does it change your mind about backing Chevron on this race?
Yeah, Chevron's done. You're not going to defeat Vicky Hall. So it's over. I think the next thing you'll hear is that Chevron walked away, which is why the stock is up a lot. Kudos to Gordon Haskett, an outfit that saw a plane, an Oxyjet in Omaha. But I do think that a lot, we were discussing it earlier with Squawk. They were talking about expensive capital. I'm talking about a total endorsement of someone who's really gutsy in the Permian. And amazingly, as much as Mike Wirth from Chevron wanted the property, spoke to me on Friday, I think he just walks away. I don't think you can win. See, it's no longer Chevron versus Oxy. Now it's Chevron versus Buffett. They're both, you're a pea shooter versus it.
David, we've got to get your take on this one, having broken so much of the incremental news leading up to this point.
Listen, I tend to agree with Jim. I, as usual, don't want to say things quite as strongly as he just did, but it does put the pressure on Chevron. And I will tell you guys, I was planning on actually coming on the show and sharing reporting over the last couple of days, yesterday in particular, that indicated to me, at least based on what I was hearing from people close to the Chevron camp or within the camp, that they were unlikely to potentially compete anyway. A lot of narrative around Mike Wirth, first-year CEO, wanting to show discipline. Some information in terms of the back and forth that took place when they did get the deal, in terms of their unwillingness to really go beyond 65, indicated, at least to me, that you had to take seriously the possibility that Chevron would choose not to compete. This was before the news that we just got a few moments ago, of course, with Mr. Buffett fully endorsing a combination of Occidental and Anadarko, investing $10 billion in Oxy and an 8% preferred, with the right to own 80 million shares at $62.50 a share. And as Jim said, that ringing endorsement, well, it certainly would seem to raise the bar even higher for Chevron to get over. Jim, let's not forget, and you said this many times, if Chevron truly wants to own this, they still can. They have the wherewithal to do it no matter what, even in the face of Mr. Buffett. But the fact is, it seems highly unlikely at this point right now, although I can't confirm that that's the case.
Yeah, look, I think that Chevron, the only reason they would do it is to make it so that Holland has to pay more money. This is now, I'm not saying it's an absurd bid. I am saying that Wirth thought he had it. David, clearly, Chevron does not have it. And I think Chevron walks away. The question, David, is when you have all that firepower in your Chevron, tell me what happens. Do you have your bankers? Do you have so many different companies in Permian? If you thought that Anadarko was undervalued, I got 5 others that are equally undervalued. Do they just go for something, or do they say, you know what? Our heart was in Anadarko because of LNG in Mozambique, because of these other properties, and some good Permian, and we're done. Do they go, or do they buy, or do they go?
Well, clearly there was a desire on their part to expand, and particularly in that part of the world, although, as you say, Anadarko, Mozambique, not really important to them, perhaps more so, as you pointed out, to Chevron. Mozambique not as important to Occidental for an Anadarko purchase as it potentially would have been to Chevron. I don't know, Jim. Listen, they'll be able to look back at this and sort of wonder where they might have tactically done a better job, or whether they were somewhat misled in terms of the way the process went from the Anadarko side. Maybe there was an opportunity for them to have a bit more, although, again, as I understand it, they really were very incremental. They only went up by $1 to best and final. They did get their deal at 65, but as we pointed out, moments after that deal was signed, Occidental was there, and Vicky Hall, you have to give credit here, did something unexpected in mounting a public bid, what was it, last Wednesday, and beyond that, obviously signing up Mr. Buffett to endorse that bid with not just his words, but even more importantly, $10 billion coming from Berkshire.
Speaking of someone's word, David, I don't know if Anadarko kept Wirth from Chevron fully in the loop here. If I were Chevron, I'd walk away just saying, listen, guys, we didn't get the right call, and we thought we were in. Maybe they should be a little more transparent over there in Anadarko.
Yeah, well, perhaps. I mean, there's going to be a break fee here, conceivably. By the way, we should reset. Yesterday, I failed to clarify some things in terms of the way this works. It needs to be deemed superior, that is, likely the Occidental bid for Anadarko prior to this 4-day period beginning under which Chevron does have the right to then come back. That clock hasn't started yet. There has been some contact now, I'm told, between Anadarko and Oxy. They've started to exchange contracts. We'll see how long that takes. There may be a little more diligence, something along those lines they want to do. But then, conceivably, you will get to that, most likely going to be superior. The only question is, does Chevron choose to just say, we're done, or will they continue to allow this clock to sort of start to run as they consider their options?
As for Buffett, man, when you put Buffett and preferred and warrants to purchase more in the same release, it gets your attention. What do you think he's thinking here, long-term on oil and gas?
Well, first of all, they have a tremendous read because of their pipeline network of what's going on. And remember, all the problems with the Permian have to do with pipeline. I do think that also Oxy, great worldwide company. Oxy is committed to its dividend. I don't know. I want to figure out the coupon versus the dividend. But I just think he thinks she's aggressive, smart, in the right area. She didn't necessarily need the capital, but it sure does help. Who knows how when you have Warren Buffett in your camp, you're a different company from the day you weren't, even if you end up paying a lot of money.
Right. I mean, for someone, Buffett, who has talked about valuations not being especially attractive, at least for his elephant hunting, right?
Yes, I do think that if you can figure out how to unlock the Permian, which is going to be pipeline. You look at Kinder Morgan. You ever see, can Rich Kinder buy more stock? There are people who clearly think that if we can get the oil out of the Permian, we're going to be good. But I just think it's a question of personality, quality, a belief in Holland. Chevron goes to 125.